In the grand epic of the Mahabharata, we sing praises of Arjuna's bow. We marvel at Bhima's strength. We bow to Yudhishthira's truth. But there is one brother who is often forgotten. He sits in the shadows, silent, observant, and mysterious. Sahadeva, the youngest Pandava, the quiet one. But have you ever asked why he was so quiet? Was it shyness? Was it humility? Or was it because he held a terrifying secret in his belly? A secret so dark that if he spoke it, the universe itself might shatter. Folklore tells us a story that you won't find in the sanitized versions of the epic. It tells us that Sahadeva's wisdom didn't come from books or gurus. It came from an act of forbidden darkness. It came from eating the flesh of his own father. To understand this tragedy, we must go back to the forest where King Pandu lay dying. Pandu had lived a life of curse and penance. He knew that his sons, the Pandavas, were born of the gods, gifted with immense power. But he also knew that power without wisdom is just a weapon waiting to destroy its owner. As he took his final breaths, Pandu called his 5 sons to his side. He didn't leave them gold. He didn't leave them armies. He made a horrific, final request. He whispered, "My sons, my body holds the knowledge of the ancestors. My brain holds the secrets of the cosmos. Do not burn me entirely. Eat my flesh. Consume my brain. If you do this, you will know everything I know. You will never be defeated." Imagine the horror. The 5 brothers stood frozen. Yudhishthira, the icon of Dharma, stepped back in disgust. Bhima, Arjuna, and Nakula looked away, sickened by the thought of cannibalism. They refused. They could not desecrate their father's body. But Sahadeva saw something they didn't. He looked past the flesh and saw the Shakti, the energy. He understood that this wasn't about hunger, it was about the transfer of destiny. While his brothers were preparing for the funeral rites, folklore says Sahadeva secretly took a piece of his father's flesh. Some say it was the brain, others say it was his little finger, and he placed it on his tongue. The moment he swallowed, the world exploded in his mind. In a split second, Sahadeva was no longer just a boy. The veil of time was ripped away. He could see the past, the present, and the terrifying future. He saw the great war of Kurukshetra before it even began. He saw the millions of dead bodies. He saw the tears of Draupadi. He saw the end of the Kuru dynasty. He became Tri-kaal Gyani, the knower of the 3 times. But with great knowledge comes a great enemy. The moment Sahadeva attained this godlike vision, the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, appeared before him. Krishna knew that the game of destiny relies on suspense. If the players know the ending, the play cannot go on. If Sahadeva told his brothers that they would win the war but lose their sons, would they still fight? If he told Yudhishthira about the dice game, would destiny unfold? Krishna, the director of this cosmic drama, stepped in. He looked at the young Sahadeva, who was trembling under the weight of cosmic truth, and he offered a test. Krishna asked, "Sahadeva, you now know everything. You know who I am. You know what will happen. But for Dharma to be established, this knowledge must remain a burden, not a weapon." Krishna then placed a terrible curse, or perhaps a terrible pact, upon him. He said, "You must remain silent. You cannot volunteer this truth to anyone. You will only speak if you are asked a direct question. And if you ever speak the future voluntarily to stop it, your head will split into 1,000 pieces." This is the tragedy of Sahadeva. This is why he was silent. Think of the dice game, the Dyuta Sabha. Sahadeva sat there, clutching his dice, tears streaming down his face. He knew the next roll would enslave them. He knew Draupadi would be dragged by her hair. He wanted to scream, to flip the table, to stop the madness. But he couldn't, because no one asked him. Yudhishthira asked for luck, not for the future. The elders remained silent, and Sahadeva, trapped by his pact with Krishna, had to watch his family be destroyed, locking the scream inside his throat. He was the smartest man in the room, yet he was the most helpless. Why did Krishna do this? Was it cruelty? No, it was the ultimate wisdom. Krishna taught Sahadeva the hardest lesson of spiritual life, surrender. Sometimes we know things are going wrong. We see the bad times coming. We want to control everything, to fix every outcome. But Krishna teaches us that we are not the doers. We are simply actors. Sahadeva had to learn to watch the destruction of his own world and still trust in Krishna's plan. He had to trust that even in the chaos, Dharma was working. In the end, Sahadeva's silence was his greatest sacrifice. He sacrificed his peace of mind so that the Gita could be spoken, so that the war could cleanse the earth, and so that Dharma could be reborn. So the next time you feel burdened by what you know, or frustrated that you cannot change the people around you, remember Sahadeva. Remember that sometimes silence is not weakness. Sometimes trusting Krishna's timing is the only true wisdom.